أحمده وأصلي على رسول الكريم أما بعد الحمد لله الذي أنزل على عبده الكتاب ولم يجعل له عوجا قيما لينذر بأسا شديدا من لدنه ويبشر المؤمنين الذين يعملون الصالحات أن لهم أجرا حسنا رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي آمين يا رب. I'm in a mood to say a lot. So let's see how this works out, because trying to say a lot may end up being saying not being able to get my point across. Those of you who have phones, please take out your phones and look up Halloween and the Church of Satan. Just do it. Just do it. Halloween and the Church of Satan. Let me know when you reach the first page. The first page that you will see is from the Church of Satan. Do you see that? Yes? And if you click on it, it will tell you the holiday of the Church of Satan is which day? Halloween. We have a national holiday that is literally, historically, actually, factually a holiday of the Church of Satan. It's not a joke. There are many reasons for this, but I want to share with you something. And the title of my talk today is how we went from being a godless society to a society of zombies. And we will go from being a society of zombies to what is or has been called the death drive. Let me go back 200 years ago, 250 years ago, where people believed in families. People believed in families. People lived with their uncles and aunts, and people lived on their farms. People traded in coins made of gold and silver. Here in America, if you study the history of money in America, they had coins from the Dutch. They had coins from the British. They had coins from all over the world. They were used here and traded here from Portuguese, from different countries. They all had natural lifestyle. They did not deal in riba, in interest. Interest was allowed in Christianity only after the 1600s. It was one of the first steps to make a godless society. When you studied nature, you studied nature with God in mind. The current academia has made it haram to study and to talk about nature with God in mind. You can't publish an article saying there's such and such natural phenomenon and see how beautiful God. You cannot get published. It's haram. You must expand knowledge with one eye blind, without God. And so we had a society that believed in traditional values, believed in religion, believed in a truth, believed that nature is better than what is artificial. And then, what happened? Then man created a new society, different from the old society. We created the Bank of England, which was the first bank to start riba. And you know what happens in riba? 1 + 1 is not 2. In riba, 1 + 1 can be 3. In riba, 1 + 1 can be 5. They created a world where knowledge, it was necessary to expand knowledge, but without the mention of God. It is where the sexual revolution started. It is where artificial money started. Where the value of family became less. And so we had a godless society. Now, why did I mention Halloween? Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he told us. The companions asked the Prophet was doing dua. Allahumma barik lana shamina wa yamanina. Oh Allah, make blessings for the people of Sham, Syria. And Allah, make blessings for the people of Yemen. The Prophet is praying. And some people say to the Prophet, please pray for Najd. Pray. Where's Najd? What is it Najd today? What's the capital of Saudi Arabia? Riyadh. Riyadh is what? Najd. Do you know more companions of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam died bringing Islam to Najd than all the companions that died bringing Islam to Syria and to bringing to Egypt and Iraq and Iran? That's how hard it was. When the Prophet passed away, the first place to rebel against the Prophet with false prophets was the place of Najd. So what happened in the last few days in this area called Najd? Saudi Arabia has a Halloween party. Halloween party in Najd. The Prophet said in a long narration talking about the different phases of history, he said there will be a phase, the godless phase. He said, أُنَاسٍ يَدْعُونَ إِلَىٰ أَبْوَابِ جَهَنَّمَ. There will be people who will call to the doors of the hellfire. مَنْ أَجَابَ إِلَيْهِمْ. Whoever responds to them, فَغَزُوا فِيهِ. He will be thrown into it. But that wasn't the surprising part. They continued to ask the Prophet ﷺ, Sifhum lana ya Rasulullah. Can you describe them to us, O Prophet of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Describe them to us. The Prophet said, Hum min al-jildatina. They're from our skin. They will be from our skin. وَيَتَكَلَّمُونَ بِأَلْسِنَتِنَا. And they will talk with our language. People, meaning this was supposed to be the place that is calling towards Islam. But there will come a time that this very place that from where Islam started, and this very place that so many companions of the Prophet sacrificed their lives for, this same place will one day rise up, and it will have people calling to the gates of hellfire. Those people from where Islam started, from that area. And now you have the government sponsoring a Halloween party, sponsoring the holiday of the Church of Satan. Officially, the Church of Satan. So the Prophet was praying, Barik lana Shamina wa Yamanina. Oh Allah, bless Sham and bless Yemen. And then they asked 3 times, please, O Prophet, pray for Najd. And what did the Prophet say? Yatlu alayha qarnu shaytan. This is where the horn of shaitan will rise. This is where the fitans will rise, the Prophet said. And the Prophet said there will be earthquakes that will come to this area. And so we started in Britain. What happened in Britain? The sexual revolution happened. The riba banking system happened. A new type of science that doesn't want to talk about God happened. A new world order was made. A world in which don't bring God to the public square. Don't bring God to Parliament. Don't bring God to Congress. Keep God in your churches and your masjids. Don't bring them into the marketplace. And they created a society where the role of God was to help people that were weak, considered weak in that society. So where do they have the chaplains? They have the chaplains in the prisons. And they have the chaplains in the hospitals. Because the role of religion became the sanitation department of society. People that are the junkyard of society, they need God. And philosophically, I don't know if I should go there, but I'll mention it. You might enjoy it, maybe. Carl C. Lewis was one of the great Christian philosophers. He actually did a good job trying to rebel against this onslaught of godlessness that was happening. One of the things that he discussed is that he writes this in a play, and then I'll try to explain it. But when you see white, light is white, right? White, you see the color white. But if you break it down, what colors do you see? If you break down the colors of light, what colors do you see? The colors of the rainbow? Yes? So the essence of the white light is gone when you break down the white light. And he said, in this way, when you become reductionist, when you try to find the essence of something by breaking it down physically, you have lost wisdom. And the modern society works by trying to find the essence of things by what? Breaking it down. I want to know what a human being is. Let me break down the human being to his smallest little particle. Well, you will not find the essence of man in a cell. Just as you will not find the essence of white light in its breakdown. And so there was what we call in philosophy the hermeneutics of suspicion. Started by three people primarily. I know this is getting a little deep, but I just want to mention it so people kind of, if you can get it, you get it. Freud, Nietzsche, and Marx. The hermeneutics of suspicion was the idea that human beings, they looked, because once you brought in the godless age, then the only reason man does anything is for power. Then the only reason man does anything is for sexual drive. Once you did away with God as a social discourse, once you did away with God as part of the elite social discourse in the universities, then what is man left when you break him down? Nietzsche's famous words, will to power. You study this? Will to power. Power. Freud, sex. Marx, commerce. Oh, I can go so much deeper. Let me share with you this side note. Let me see how much time I have. Okay, I'll spend 5 minutes on this point. I don't know how well I can express this. But maybe you will be able to. Maybe I'll be able to convey what I'm trying to say. In the world of commerce, and before I come there, man lives a life of repetition. We live a life of what? Repetition. Everything we do is repeated over and over again. That's the state of man. But imagine somebody jogging for a second. And as a person gets used to repeating, like we do dhikr, repeat, but as a person is jogging, first he's in his physical body, but when he starts enjoying it and he grows in it, he gets into a transcendental state. Do you see what I'm saying? You get outside your body. You're not even aware of your physical body. You're just repeating and enjoying. If you like the repetition. And this, in tasawwuf, is called fana. When you lose yourself. It's called what? Fana is when you lose yourself in Allah. But you don't lose yourself in Allah here. You lose yourself in whatever you're repeating over and over and over and over again. Because you're repeating it and you're enjoying it, you lose yourself into something other than yourself. Is everyone following what I'm saying? This is also, I don't want to use the word French philosopher used, but it means like a mini death. And so by repeating something, you lose yourself. Now, let me add to this. You buy a shoe, and that shoe is the same shoe that Michael Jordan was using to jump high. Now, you know fully well you're going to buy this shoe and it's not going to make you jump any higher. You know this. But you still buy that shoe that Michael Jordan used to jump higher because of the association that that person that jumps high because he's wearing these shoes, therefore something might affect me, knowing that nothing will actually affect you at the very rational level. And so in the modern world, we became used to repetition, but the type of repetition where you never live life to the fullest. What do I mean by that? Let me just go back. Let me see, okay. You can have intimacy without having intimacy. You can enjoy everything in the world without actually doing it. So you never get to the point of transcendence. You never get to the point of what? Because if you're actually jogging every day, then you'll get to the point of what? Transcendence. But if you're pretending and it's virtual, you'll never actually fully live life to the point of transcendence. Are you following what I'm saying? When that becomes chronic in a society where you're not living life to the point of transcendence, where you don't actually enjoy doing things of life to the fullest, when that becomes a chronic problem, which is what it has become with our youth, then you look for transcendence in wearing fake costumes. Then you look for transcendence, and not only do you look for transcendence, but you get into a zombie-like state. Not only do you get into a zombie-like state, but then you get into what we call the death drive. Now, what is that? When life is not satisfying, I'll give you an example. Let's say somebody had $100 and he started gambling. And that $100 now became $10. Now what is he going to do? He's going to go all out with his $10 that are remaining, and he's going to kill himself to death. It's called self-sabotage. Freud, in his book, the book is called Beyond Pleasure. 5 times, wallahi, I think 5 times he says that, he gives an example. You're doing a therapy session with someone and everything's improving, the guy's improving, everything's good, oh my God, he's improved so much and everything is going good. And then one day, like as if he was possessed, he will sabotage all his positive work. Why would a human being do that? Why would a human being self-sabotage? Why would a human being turn against himself? And so Freud said, not me, Freud said this. He said there must be something in the subconscious level, something like yuwaswisu fi sudurin nas. Something must be in the subconscious level that causes man to sabotage himself. And so this person that had $100, he's gambling, he's losing all his money, he has $10 left, and now he will go all out and sabotage himself completely. When there's this radical negativity, when there's what? This radical what? When there's this radical negativity, you will go out and destroy yourself. And that is what where the world is now going. That is where the war in Ukraine is going. It's self-sabotage. Everyone knows that they have only a few days of gas left, but they're still going to go on. Self-sabotage. People will begin to now, at a collective and a mass level, at an unprecedented scale, you will see human beings acting like zombies and doing works of self-destruction like never before in history before. People will be calling at the doors of the hellfire. Agents that have the agenda, like the Church of Satan, that have the agenda to put you in the hellfire and take out any level of transcendence in your life, give you a virtual life, and dullify and take away your humanity and then throw you in the hellfire. This literally, I don't have the words to express, and I don't know if what I said made any sense. It makes sense in my mind, but I don't know if I was able to convey it or with what level I was able to convey it. But we are in unprecedented times right now. Because we never lived in a godly society. We never lived in a society where the whole society is talking about God. Where the whole masjids are full. Where the shops close. I mean, I even forget about Islam, even in terms of Christianity. Where family was more important. Where fathers had authority. Where money was real. Where families cared. Nowadays, problems in every family. Brothers fighting against brothers, sisters fighting against sisters, in almost every Muslim house. Every Muslim house. And what that does is it puts us in a zombie state. Puts us in a very negative state. May Allah forbid. And I think we're all at fault for that, at one level or another. But I think I've said enough for now. Let me just repeat something that I wanted to say. We live in a godless society. We live in a society that wants you not to believe in Allah. We live in a society where 25% of the Muslims in this country are leaving Islam. Because they don't have the intelligence to see that there is Allah. We have to convince we are in a situation today at a cultural level. I mean, I want you to think about this. There's nothing more obvious, nothing more apparent, nothing more absolutely clear than the fact that God exists. But how much energy does an average thinking Muslim who is actually thinking have to spend on convincing himself that God exists? Just the fact that I can talk and I can text and listen to or do something else, type something, just the fact I can be doing 5-6 things at the same time means God exists. Because that doesn't happen randomly. But at a subconscious level, because of the society, the godless society we live in, you don't understand the level of impact it has in all of us. We all deny God because of the society we live in. We all question God because of the society we live in. Even though there's nothing more apparent than the fact that Allah exists. It's the most, you don't have to be a rocket, the most simple thing to know, okay, is that my food is coming from the ground, the rain comes from the top. Everything is, it's like you live in a hotel, and you know how the cleaners come and fix everything, and then everything in the hotel is working, the hot water is working, the towels are changed, everything is done for you, the new soap is replaced, everything is replaced. The universe is working like that for you, serving you, giving you, and you're thinking, where's God? I don't know if God exists. I'm not sure if I'm living in this hotel, but I don't think anyone owns this hotel. I think the soap automatically just gets there, and then the hot water just happens to be there, and just, everything gets cleaned in my room, and my bed is made just like that. And people are questioning God. People are questioning the existence of Allah. We live, and then when you have to spend so much energy in proving to yourself that God exists, even though it is the most obvious thing. It's so obvious, the Quran doesn't even discuss the issue of if Allah exists or not. It should be so clear and obvious. But because we live in a culture that's, the environment has an impact on us. The environment affects us. How many of you people remember when Sheikh Ibrahim was talking, he mentioned that the number question he was asked was if God exists or not. Do you remember that? Yes? People are so silly, so stupid, they don't know if Allah exists. Yet we want to copy nature to make technology. We want to copy everything in nature to make technology. Every single thing we've ever created is by doing something we call biomimicry. Because the scientists figured this out. The best way to make the next product is to find something in nature that nature does differently than the way we do it. You'll make the next big product. There's a whole subject called all the latest technology. You know how a bird goes from the air into the sea to catch a fish? That's the technology they use to the fastest trains in the world when they go into the tunnel of a big mountain. They use that technology of that bird. Looking at that bird, this is how the aerodynamics of this bird is, that it goes from the air into the sea to catch the fish. Then that's how they use these trains to do the same thing. The best fans, the best fans in the world, we're looking at the nature of the fins of the whales, how they spin across in the water to make the best fans. They were based upon the fins. Every technology. It's just like that story in the Quran where the man did not know what to do after he killed his brother. He looked at the crow. That's what man has done. And yet man wants to say there's no God. You copy nature and you say there's no God. There's nothing more absurd than that. And so we have this godless society that has put this mindset of, I don't know if God will be there for me, or I don't know if there's God. And we question God. And our children will question God, and our children's children will probably question God. And the majority of the Muslim youth, they're all questioning if God exists. And this is not my subject to prove the existence of God, but what I'm trying to show is the impact of that society on us. The impact of that society. And then riba is everywhere. And what does Allah say about riba? يَتَخَبَّطُ الشَّيْطَانُ مِنَ الْمَسِّ, that the touch of shaitan will touch you, and there's riba everywhere. And so we're all touched by shaitan because interest is everywhere. Riba is everywhere. live in a godless society, and now that godless society is pushing us into a kill drive mode. Kill yourself, sabotage yourself. And this is why the young youth are not motivated, because they are in a state where their subconsciousness their subconscious is creating an environment to self-sabotage themselves. And I'll end here for now. أقول قولي هذا أستغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين والمسلمات. السلام عليكم.